good evening, everyone. This is Nataki Rose. I'm with C.A.R.P.R, and I have my host tonight, Mr. Demetrius Bonner from Housing Resource Networking Organization. And so tonight we will be talking about, of course, C.A.R.P.R, and we will be discussing the DOJ report that just came in February the 13th when Loretta Lynch was in town. Always in town. Okay. And yeah, so we have right here a copy of the DOJ findings and what they said in the report. We are really overwhelmed what they said in the report. The report comes out to say pretty much what we know at C.A.R.P.R. And so we're going to have a conversation about what was said and how it affects our community and how it affects our lives and the youth lives and the people that's affected by this. So I have to me right now Mr. Demetrius Bonner, to come and talk about the Housing Resource Network Initiative and to talk about the DOJ report. How you doing this evening?
I'm
Sorry
doing
about the
wonderful.
mix-up.
It's okay.
I'm a little kind of been busy all day.
Okay, I can
Sorry
understand.
about that.
So my name is H. Demetrius Bonner. I am the founder of the Housing Resource Network. The Housing Resource Network, it defends from the homeless to the homeowner. I mean, we look out for housing for all people. You know, we look out for housing for those, because we believe housing is a basic human right, and everybody should have a roof over their head. There should be no homeless people.
Absolutely.
In the city of Chicago, or in America as far as that's concerned. But so our efforts is to educate people on their right in terms of housing and to provide them with some resources in terms of education and information that would lead them to stable housing. So that's our goal. And then there's issues where people who have housing, who's already in some type of subsidized housing, whether it's public housing or subsidized, you know, there's like 17 windows to subsidies, to HUD and its subsidies. And so we try to provide some information and education on all of the housing stocks inside of housing, including the new created Section 8BB that is new to the system, and people are getting these vouchers and relocating out of the city with the understanding that they will have a portable Section 8 that will give them project-based Section 8 abilities.
Okay. And what I'm sorry, I meant to ask you, what part of, where do you stay at in the Chicago? On the south side, on the north side? On
Well,
the
I
west
stay
side?
in the Kenwood, Oakland neighborhood. It's surrounded by a lot of our elected officials. We have Bobby Rush to the north. We have the president to the south. We had Carol Mosley Braun, Operation Push. Farrakhan lives in the Honorable Farrakhan lives in the neighborhood as well. So we live in a pretty mixed neighborhood that's been gentrified, and the demolition of public housing played a great deal in the gentrification of our community.
Okay, so Kenwood,
Oakland, yes,
is facing gentrification.
No, it has gone through gentrification.
Oh, it has gone through gentrification.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain gentrification to us?
Well, it's a nice way of saying we're kicking you out of your neighborhood and we're taking over your town. If you notice, throughout the city of Chicago, things have happened. So with the demolition of public housing came the murder of our children and our youth. That wasn't bad enough. They've closed our schools and took away our businesses and took away all our resources. So now a community that was thriving just with its own ethnic resources has now become gentrified, and the people are dependent on other people.
Okay, we're going to take a call. We have a caller.
Okay.
Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you. Great, great show. The gentleman next to you is right. Everybody needs somewhere to go to lay their head. Everybody.
Yes, sir.
But what happens when they go home one day, it's okay, then the next day they're getting shot at. So they had the projects that they showed there. What can we do to this for this city that'll keep all of that out of it? You know, people don't mind spending big bucks on buildings to build for the poor. No, they figure, but 5 years later, they're knocking them down because of all the gangbanging and shootings. So the gentleman next to you, does he have a suggestion? I have another suggestion. Why don't we wait for 4 years with Donald Trump and see if he does any better? Because all the Democratic, Democratic mayors, aldermen, the Black Caucus, have done nothing, not a thing.
So,
All you.
okay, so I hear what you're saying. I appreciate that. But what you need to know is politics is the least of our worries. Our first worry is to, we need to teach our own to elevate. So what we need to understand is that respect begins with the understanding of ethnicity. So every ethnic group is entitled to the history and the knowledge of itself, no matter how bad it is. And since Chicago is a melting pot, every ethnic group is entitled to its own community. You can go anywhere in the city and see pride of a nation. Chinatown, Little Italy. I can just go on and on with the different communities. Germantown, Uptown, Bucktown.
Ukraine.
And yeah, Ukrainian,
Ukrainian village.
Everybody has a community.
Yes.
Except for the African American community that was gentrified. So what we do to fix this is the first thing is to educate. The next thing is to empower by education. And the other thing is to create our own businesses. See, if you don't have it, you can't give it away. So let's get it. And that's the empowerment part.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the DOJ right fast. How do you feel like what is your how do you feel like the DOJ report fits in or affects people in the housing? How does that intertwine with each other? If you can tell us briefly.
Basically, the Department of Justice is just that. It's a department full of just us. And what I mean by just us, I mean that those who have less, the attack is on those who have less. If you remember the president's speech saying that if you having less than $200,000, if you earn less than $200,000, then you're living in a poverty situation. So they've outsourced the middle class altogether. So either you're rich or you're poor, no in between. So now what we have to understand is with the Department of Justice, the role that they play is to keep the chaos going. If you notice the killing that's been going around throughout the Midwest and throughout the country, these people are using military tactics on us, approved by the Department of Justice. And what you have to look at is how do we combat these things? This is just more information on imprisoning us. Their whole understanding of controlling a people, right? Because it was no secret that the demolition of public housing was going to start all of this chaos. That was no secret. It was done by plan. It's called the Plan for Transformation. All right? So what we have to understand is the power that we possess to control the ideas of the Department of Justice. We have to empower ourselves to control the Department of Justice, right? So they work for us. So in this release, this news release, is really funny. It's laughable because this is just twisted words that were already in place at first, right?
Right.
So you have to understand you can put lipstick on a pig and still a pig. You know,
Absolutely.
You can have a word that means the same thing and then turn that word around and mean something totally different.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this, in my opinion, this is Department of Justice efforts to, and I just think it's the system's effort to keep us at bay, keep us subdued, or eliminate us. One or the other thing. So, and I want to remind everybody, yes, it's an attack on the African American community, but it's also an attack on the poor, because poor whites are just as vulnerable as poor blacks or rich blacks.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we today just went over and had our guest, Mr. Demetrius Bonner from the Housing Resource Network, and we just went over the DOJ report. And so we want to let you know that C.A.R.P.R is coming to you every week, giving you the information that the community needs, that the community wants to hear. And we want to hear your voices. Always give us a call when
Yes.
we're on the air on Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 6:30. The number is 312-738-1060. You can always call us on the hotline call. If you want to get involved in C.A.R.P.R, you can always come and visit us at 1325 South Wabash every Monday. We have meetings there from 6 p.m. to about 7:30 or 8. Sometimes a little whatever goes over. But we're there every Monday from 6 p.m., like I said, to 8. And it's 1325 South Wabash. We would like for you to come out and join us. Give us your voice. We're coming into the communities as far as setting up committees inside each ward in the community to get the message out about C.A.R.P.R. And we want to thank you all for joining us this evening. Thank you, Mr. Demetrius Bonner, for taking out the time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much. And so we'll see you again next week at the same time. C.A.R.P.R. Power to the people.
All power to the people.
All power to the people. Thank you.
Thank you.